Hey guys, what's going on? So, big day in the market, right? The crypto market, not really much going on in the overall traditional markets. But there's some parallels, guys, here I just wanted to talk about. When you see this rotation, you know, all this altcoin selling, some people want to think, well, it's just that people are chasing price on Bitcoin, and that is to some extent. But when we have this much acceleration to the downside and there's this much pain on the altcoins, what happens is it's very similar to when, like for example, 2008, when you had just massive risk off move. And when it gets to the point where people are down a certain amount, whether even without leverage, when you're down 30-50%, people will just start selling. And that's what you're seeing a lot of today. So even if something maybe hasn't technically broken, you have your stop loss rules in place, or there is probably a good amount of the market that's on margin that's maybe outside the U.S. or these bigger firms or shops that are playing with leverage. So when you start to get into margin calls and people just selling because they have to sell, well, when you on the global macro side, when you do that, if you're selling gold, if you're selling this stock, if you're selling this high yield bond, all that stuff is priced in dollars. So when you money is on one side of the equation, assets is on the other. So when you're selling, and for example, the U.S. dollars, the obviously the world's reserve currency, that's what most of financial assets are priced in. That puts a natural bid to the dollar. So in 2008, I mean, even though the Fed was lowering rates, you had the dollar was just ripping. You had a big bull market, and that's just because people were selling and they're going to dollars. So here, a lot of this move here up in this afternoon is people selling out their altcoins, obviously, and that's just when they sell, it immediately puts them into Bitcoin. That's just driving up the price even more. So what we care about here, guys, is obviously, I mean, look, this was pretty good. I mean, we almost doubled our account in less than 3 months. We took one stop, which was last week on metal, when we hit a bid, just because we started breaking the bands. And we even talked about maybe this was the start of a bigger altcoin correction. If you guys remember last week or so, we talked about metal here was one of the best performing altcoins on the way up. And it was one of the first ones to break the bands here on the way down. Hopefully I can short. I may not be able to annotate. All right, well, right here, when we broke the bands, I said you got to be careful. There's another 30-40% correction, and that's exactly what we got. So we stopped and went to the sidelines right here on this day. And this is what I mean, guys, is it's not just, oh, well, I still like it, and I'm going to hold it longer term, because the problem is you're going to end up having a 40-50% loss, or not necessarily a loss, because you may not want to actually sell and to realize the loss. But you got to realize even a 50% drop, now you have a 100% gain you have to achieve to get back to break even. So that's not the way to manage risk. It's better just go to the sidelines, preserve your capital, and then you can always get back in. So that was the right move here. This is what I talk about when you have a stop. Doesn't mean it's the wrong action. You're going to let's play metal for the next several years. You have a lot of winning trades in here. This one happens to be a loser. It's just out, and we'll get back in lower. It's almost the same trade to me, but you can't sit through these big drawdowns. It's just too difficult. You're not going to have the capital to get back in. So this is what risk management is about, is learning to take this off. So we had essentially one stop in 3 months up until last week, and I took 4 or 5 today. So I think that's meaningful. It says something, either this is the low capitulation, or this is maybe the start of a serious correction where you're going to see even more this type of move, where you're breaking the bands and you're going all the way back to like pie lines on the weekly, levels like that. So we could just do a rundown here. I think Bitcoin, Bitcoin's now our biggest position. So you can see here, we sold into this cycle high. I was looking for this to come back down, and we never got it, which is okay. We said, all right, we're just going to sell here. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we take out this high that we get right back in. So we're back in now, and this is Bitcoin's our biggest position. And I want to see how it goes. I mean, could we fail here and that be the high, and then we double top, and we're trading back down here at 3,000? Yeah, right. I mean, anything's possible, guys. But I want to lean in this direction of this power, and the last thing you would want to be doing is shorting these highs, and you're standing right in front of the strongest asset class in the world right now. That's not what you want to be doing. So I don't think you're going to see, nobody really shorts this market anyway. So we'll see if these big sellers, there are some big institutions that were selling here, some big traders that know what they're doing. They were on the right side of this. So we'll see if those guys show up again. Talking to some traders and just listening to some interviews, there were buyers down here. So I'm sure there's going to be sellers again here, guys, but we'll just see. It may take a couple runs. You know, it may take a couple shots at it before it breaks. But as long as we're still on the 8 here, I want to stay. I'm fine with being more heavily weighted towards Bitcoin. Now, if you're feeling like you're too heavy in BTC, I like Ethereum down here versus Bitcoin. It's right near pi, so this is cyclically, this is a good spot. And then it looks the same with Litecoin. Oops. Versus Bitcoin. It's right at pi. So I was sellers up here into this versus Bitcoin. The Litecoin position we took off, added more Bitcoin. Between the three of them, we try to trade around those three. And so I did all this selling I did on some of our other altcoins that we put in the in the room. Selling the Factum, selling out of Golem, just going to the sidelines on that stuff. It was too big of a position in Bitcoin, so then I added to Litecoin here, right at pi. I like this spot. There's good support. Anyway, yeah, so big day. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated in the room. And we should retest the highs here this evening or early morning is my guess. I mean, it's got a lot of momentum. So anyways, talk to you guys in the morning.